Nigerian annual inflation rose to 22.79% in June from 22.41% in the previous month, the National Bureau of Statistics said on Monday. The Statistics Office said the June inflation rate showed an increase of 0.38% points when compared to the May 2023 headline inflation rate. According to the report, the food inflation rate quickened to 22.25% in June from 24.82% in May, which means that food inflation was one of the reasons for the inflationary rate to have increased in a whole. On July 13, 2023, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declared a state of emergency of food security in Nigeria, directing all matters pertaining to food and water availability and affordability as an essential livelihood item, included within the preview of the National Security Council. Mr. President said he was not unmindful of the rising cost of food and its effect on the pockets of the citizens. But many economists feel he needs to do more as it concerns driving down the inflationary rate, and more needs to be done with high transportation due largely to the increase in the pump price of petrol occasioned with the removal of fuel subsidy and the resultant increase in goods and services. But if Nigerians feel the highest the inflationary rate will get would be in June, their wishes may just be fruitless, judging with yesterday's Tuesday, July 18 increase in the pump price of fuel from 517 to 617. With the NNPCL Group Chief Executive Officer, Kyari, saying the rise in the petroleum price was due to market forces. Mr. Kyari said, with the deregulation of the oil sector, market realities will force the pump price of petrol, sometimes above and others below. And Nigerians are only wondering when this will definitely go down. Hence the need for us to ask that big question on the big story for today. Are Nigerians in for a tough journey ahead in the coming months? And what should the federal government and state government do to lessen the burden on the lives of Nigerians? Well, this and more as it concerns the present economic reality is what this very edition of the big story is all about. And that is growing inflationary rates and the new economic realities. And that's what we're having as a major discourse today on the big story. We're talking about the growing inflationary rates, not just that from the National Bureau of Statistics, but also going around markets in the different markets in the countries, and not just only in the country, but also looking at the recent pump price being increased on account of market forces, as being stated by the Chief Executive Officer of the NNPCL. Well, like I said, the new economic reality facing Nigerians in the face is what we'll be facing head on the show today. And to help us face that, undermining his face is not smiling, and I know why. It's no other person but Comrade FM&TV. Good morning to you, and I understand why the frown on your face, but I really want you to just help us through with our discussion. Welcome to it, sir.
Yes, I also thank you. The smile on my face, I'm just trying to force it out, just like the goat.
Well, please just do so you look lovely on the TV. But anyways, also joining us, and he'll be joining us via Zoom all the way from Edo State. We'll be having no other person but Solomon Idiogbe, and when he's ready, we'll have him on board, and he'll be giving us an insight on how, or rather what he feels about the new economic reality facing Nigerians in the face. But anyway, I want us to first start with you, and start with the inflationary rate for June, as released by the National Bureau of Statistics, which increased by 0.38% compared to May headline inflation rate. And if you look at the year-on-year basic, the headline inflation rate was about 4.19% points higher compared to the rate recorded in June of 2022, which was last year, which was about 18.60%, if I remember, in June. Yes, 18.60% in June of 2022. And my real question now is, we're now being faced with the same issues that was facing the food, because if you look at this recent inflationary rate, it dwelled on food increase. And the same challenges were facing last year are the same challenges we are facing this year when it comes to food security. But my question will be, why the astronomical increase in inflationary rate this year, June? Because, come on, we're also being faced with the same things like we faced last year. But why the high increase now?
Thank you so much, Mike. It's very, very much expected, unless, of course, you are not following the trends of the happenings in Nigeria. It's only a foolish man that does a thing repetitively for 1 month or for even a year and thinks that he wants to have a change of results. If you want to have a change of results, then you do things differently. Nigerians have not learned at all. When you compare the inflationary rates of last year, you know quite well that as at that time, the fuel price was not as high as what we are having now. Okay. So that is just the major reason.
Because we're still not having farmers go to farm. Last year, the security challenges were far more than what we're experiencing this year.
You cannot say so. The Boko Haram, so they are regrouped in a full force and they are in the farms. This month, last month to this month alone, you know the number of villages and farms that have been sacked, both in Bauchi, Kaduna, and then part of Nasarawa. So all those problems are still there. And again, when you say the price, excuse me.
Yeah.
When you increase the price of petroleum products, it will affect transportation costs, bringing the food from hinterland to the urban areas.
Okay.
So it is expected that the inflation will go up. And what is inflation actually? Too much money chasing too few goods.
Okay.
And when the goods are not there, it is not the survival of the fittest. That's what we're experiencing.
Okay. So hence, the recent increase is not occasioned with security, the food security situation, but largely due to the increase in the pump price of petrol.
Exactly.
So that's why we're having a more increase compared to last year when it was 18.6% this same time last year.
When you increase the price of petroleum, which is the only source of our foreign exchange earnings,
yeah.
When you increase that price, the person that is bringing the product will increase his own transportation cost. Even the seller, the seller himself, we have to add to his own selling price. Because I have somebody in my hometown who is into farming, mechanized farming. He will tell you, look, the best thing to survive in Nigeria is to go into production. If the government increases any of their sources of income, or if they increase any of their products, you to increase your own to meet up the market demand. Don't forget, your house rent is tied to what you do. Your children's school fees is tied to what you do. Your, what do they call it? Every other variable cost of running your home is tied to what you do. Okay. Like there was a day I was in a seminar. Somebody came to give a lecture on home economics, and the person delivered well. But a whole vicar said the man was talking trash. That the Bible never said anybody should add anything to the cost of what he bought when he sell it. Then the whole church applauded him. But when I stood up to talk, I said, look, if you buy something at 50,000 in the north, you brought it to the south last month to sell. You sell it for the same 50,000. Who pays for your variable cost? Your rent, your transport, your utility bills, and all these things. You must add.
So it's only common sense.
It's a common sense. It's not
common market sense.
Exactly. It's just a common market sense. I cannot buy for 50.
So what you are saying, the recent food increase is largely attributed to the pump price of petrol.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's still remain there, because I'm really eager for us to continue on that trajectory. Now, like we've said, we really attribute the recent food increase, which is about 25.25%, and largely to the issue of petroleum products. And funny enough, this marks the 6th consecutive increase in inflation this year, and also month-on-month increase in the price of food. And my next question will be, what will such increase mean for ordinary Nigerians, that their basic income has not increased, but we now have transportation, like you said, increase, and largely food increase every year? So, like, for example, before we came on the show, I went to the market as early as this morning. A basket of rice, mango rice, a local produced rice.
Basket? Is it this paint rubber?
Yeah. The paint rubber, that's what they call the basket. Sold for 3,300 last month. But as of this morning, it's going for 3,500, 3,600. Mango rice, they call it.
Yes.
So my question now is, what would this mean for the ordinary Nigerian that doesn't have an increase in his basic income, but now having food inflation and transportation inflation hitting the highest they had since the beginning of this year?
Look, Mike, the indices are very clear, even in the air for every man to see. If this thing continues the way it is, I can bet you it will lead to social dislocation, social life dislocation. People will resort to crime because you cannot keep your stomach empty in perpetuity. It will never work. And now people will now turn around to say that those people are guilty. Look, I don't want to mention the bank's name. There was a year they came out to say nobody commits fraud in that bank, which was correct in the sense that they are well paid and well remunerated for whatever they do. And they are even part of a profit sharing of the company. Okay. Now, if you say that basket now is not 3,005, which I know quite well that will still go up, you have not talked about beans, you have not talked about gari, not talked about tomatoes and all these things. All of those people are contributing, in fact, to a very happy family. If all these things go up, and your salary remains even 30,000 naira per month, which in most cases are not even paid because of a paucity of funds, that's the popular language in the government circle. Yeah. And those monies are not paid. Tell me, how do you now sit down in the morning? Now your child will come to you that day, what are we going to eat this morning? You know, yesterday we not eat sleep. The NEPA man came, they wanted to cut lights, so we have to go and collect 1,000 from their neighbors to give to the boys. The dirty man, the man carrying the refuse is here. Tell me, what will be running through your mind at that point in time? And an idle hand is a devil man's workshop, so they say. The man will look at it one day, maybe somebody just sell an idea to him and say, look, these things you are doing, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this, and everything for us in life. Don't forget, it is the result of all these type of things that is leading to this Yahoo Plus we are having today. Because everybody is tired. Nobody wants to look at you if you don't have money.
But it's no justification.
It's not a justification, but that's what is leading to it. It
so
is because
all you are saying for the ordinary Nigerian, it means more hard rock ahead.
Exactly. And when you are hit with a rock, look, you must do everything to survive. I bet you, Mike, even common cat, you run after a cat, the cat will run away. But when the cat gets to the wall, what does it do? It fights back. It fights back. You cannot look at your child dying because of hunger. You cannot look at your wife packing out of your house because of hunger. You are not able to meet up your responsibility as the head of the house. Tell me what you will not do to survive. There are so many things the government will do that will solve these problems, but they don't just want to do it.
We'll come to the solution pretty soon. But I want us to still remain with that very inflationary rate. That's giving a whole lot of Nigerians a reason to be concerned. And like I made promise, we'll now be joined all the way from Edo State by no other person but Mr. Solomon Idiogbe. And while he's joining us, he might be joining us a bit late before, but we had issues. But that connection now, I'm happy our crew has sorted that out. Mr. Solomon Idiogbe, good morning to you.
Good morning, and my people now, good morning.
Well, anyway, I would really want us, because we're going to look at two issues. We're talking about the recent economic realities and the inflationary rate. But as much as we're looking at that, with also the recent increase in the pump price of petrol orchestrated by the NNPCL yesterday on account of market forces, I want us to first remain with the inflationary rate increase by the National Bureau of Statistics, which says that that for June has increased to 22.79%, up from 22.41%. Now, many Nigerians before now felt that naturally after the whole increase in the pump price of petrol and all of that, occasioned with the removal of fuel subsidy, we might have a normal curve of going up and now coming down. But that was not to be, especially with the release of the statistics by the NBS just on Monday. But my quick reaction, or rather my quick question to you, I want your reaction on the recent statistics of the National Bureau of Statistics indicating that in June, we paid more for food than we normally would because of the increase in food price. And basically that also, the removal of the subsidy also shifted everything up, especially that of transportation. And funny enough, house rent is now also on the increase. So I want your quick reaction to that very statistics released by the National Bureau of Statistics.
If you ask me, I'll still tell you that the figures are not very accurate, because I think that the rate of inflation is even more higher than the statistical figures that is being released.
Okay.
But having said that, I think that we as Nigerians should know that nothing goes up by way of inflation that comes down thereafter. Because people started making speculations that the fuel price will fall after a while because it just came in and all.
Yes.
And I keep wondering, because when you said you were going to remove subsidy, you didn't make plans for other measures, and you said NFPCL can no longer is the oil sector. It's not deregulated directly or indirectly. So NFPCL is not supposed to still be the one after this deregulation exercise of subsidy to be the one to continue to fix price for petroleum products. So I do not get it. Where are we? Is it still a private company or a government-owned company? Or so the whole thing, because whether we like it or not, prices of food items, transportation is going to be on the increase by the day, because everything ties straight to petroleum products. No, you know, Mr. President has declared
emergency.
What's it called? State of emergency
on
of food security.
Yeah,
and people like Solomon Idogbe was thinking that it should have been declared on security, because when you talk about food scarcity or food insecurity, it puts down to security, because people cannot go to farm to do things, and in the end, it also comes down to transportation. So
yeah.
I don't know where we are. For
Okay,
me,
I want you, as much as you don't know where we are, but I want you, are you saying Nigerians will be in for a shock or a shocker in the months ahead, judging by...
More shocker, not just say shock, it be like say it's more shockers, because things are not coming down, and they're not going to come down. But the economic, where people, see, Nigerians are suffering. You went borrowing from your bank, you want to do sadaka, and the sadaka is not widespread. You ask Mr. President to give us the statistical figure of the total number of Nigerians in this country today. He does not have it. But I tell you that outside are preparing for census. You have not gotten that figure. You want to do palliative for 12 million Nigerians at 8,000 naira for 6 months. That will amount to about 48,000 naira. You think 48,000 naira is the problem for 6 months? That's the problem of an average household in Nigeria. Yeah. Now, as if that is not enough, you said you are taking 500 billion. From the 500 billion, you have already allocated 70 billion to your cronies, and then you have allocated another 35 billion to another sect. Baba, problem where this country big pass one way they see.
Okay, well,
there is no way that this whole thing is going to come down. They said they told us that 511 naira was just a benchmark. But after a while, it will fall down to about 300 to 400 naira at most. Sure, we have gone to 600 naira now. Don't worry, by next month you hear say don't go 700.
Well, anyways, I don't want you to sound like a prophet of doom. But anyways, comment on Domo.
Are you mean
to be realistic? You know, actually, if you look at this thing, like as I said earlier, but I agree with all the points he has just raised.
Yeah.
Why do we use that money as a waste? If you borrow money to feed, how do you pay back those monies? That is one question that they've not been able to answer us. Now 500 billion they are talking about is still going to carry interest. And add interest rate, maybe we talk about 550 billion. You have not invested this thing in any product that will yield money. You are giving it to people to go and feed. Then we are already servicing our debt with 99% of our revenue, which means we have just one revenue.
Are you now saying the future or the months ahead
is bleak? There is bleaker, bleakest. Or do we have an English like that? No, we have to be realistic. The issue we're having now,
okay, before you make us run out of vocabulary, I will plead with you to hold on. As much as I will plead with Solomon Idogbe to hold on. We need to go on a break now. But when we come back, we'll look at that major that seems to that really happened yesterday, and that's the increase in the pump price of petroleum products. And let's look around it and see how we can also deal with that to help reduce the inflationary rate that is put at 22.79%, up from 22.41% in the month of June. Are we going to get close to 24.01% in July? Well, I'm just asking. Let's go on a break.